Today, I'm testing every YouTuber made fragrance from Bowtie Fragrance to Gents Scents. And let's just say one of these bottles I wouldn't recommend to any man. You can't talk about YouTuber fragrances without talking about the man in the white suit, Bowtie Fragrance. The most polarizing man in scent culture. Love him or hate him, he's helped pioneer this whole YouTube fragrance wave. Let's start with his first release, Office for Men. Now, all of Bowtie's fragrances has been released under his Fragrance One brand, and this fragrance is phenomenal. It opens with a blast of citrus that's sharp, and it's the perfect amount of confidence that you need on your 8 a.m. ride into the office. There's a ton of ambroxan humming underneath, and it really adds this synthetic shimmer that keeps the fragrance top of mind. This has been a dominant fragrance since it's hit the market, built for boardrooms, one-on-ones, and business talk at tea time. Some say it's too corporate. I say it was the exact mission statement. And then he released Date for Men. It opens like this innocent flirt that might have got a little out of hand. It's sweet, it's bright, it's a little spicy, but it's also this syrupy, familiar sweetness that begins to pull you in. With this one thing, tonka and musk that really play this smooth position within this fragrance, but it adds a little bit more warmth when this scent is on your skin. There's something magnetic about this fragrance, like it was perfectly engineered between being safe and seductive. On first spray, it's loud, but if you give it time, it melts into something that's smooth and more personal. It's the kind of fragrance that feels better when the lights are low and the music begins to slow down a bit. Next up, we got Scents from Curly Fragrance, and she really built the name for herself by helping sexy, dirty bastards like yourself pick fragrances to help them stand out. And now, she's making her own with Ilion Dubai. First up, we got Himeros, and this one's not a stranger to the channel because we've talked about it before. This fragrance opens up as a spicy fragrance that's built for the confident men out there. It features saffron and amber with a touch of oud, and this fragrance is really strong and long-lasting. It's bold but balanced, and it's smooth, but it does it without losing its bite. This is one of those fragrances that make people turn their heads, but not because it's a bad scent, but because it's an intriguing scent. Next up is Aria, and I would say that this fragrance is effortless, but by smelling this, you can tell that they were intentional and purposeful about every note they used. It's florals, but it's not dainty. And something about this fragrance just feels a little naughty. It's like Cameron Diaz in Bad Teacher when she was dressed in that provocative way, and she shouldn't have been, but she ran with it. It's creamy vanilla and it's airy like citrus. Overall, it's got that pop of luxury while still maintaining the theme of a channel. And then we have Infinity. To infinity and beyond. Look, this one takes a calmer route. It's amber, it's sandalwood, and a bit of musk. But don't get it twisted. Each of these fragrances are strong. If you were looking for fragrances that last, project, and get attention, these get your money's worth. Moving on, we got Neve from Aromatix, and he's one of the most respected reviewers in the space. He has a calm delivery, sharp nose, and now his collab with French Avenue shows that he can be more than a critic, but also a creator. First up, we got Platine Blanc, which is clean citrus and musk. Out of the 3 releases I have, I find this one to be the most calming and one that I reach for when I'm trying to get a clear head. It's got that morning shower freshness, but grown up. In business, sometimes you have a voice and other times you have a vote. This one feels like you got a vote. It's the perfect daytime scent for when you look good and want to feel composed. Next up, we got Xando, which leans a bit darker than the last fragrance, but also has this gourmand edge. It's amber, it's spice, and it's deep woods. But there's this chocolate truffle note in here that slaps. It's structured, and it's a fragrance that I think people who are confident would wear. And although there's gourmand elements here, this one transitions perfectly from the daytime to nighttime wear. This one feels like you wanted something versatile, but also serious. And then there was Royal Taboo. Think warm tobacco with a touch of vanilla. And it also has this smoky, soft undertone. When it comes to what's the most sensual of the 3, I think that Royal Taboo and Xando are going neck and neck. I find this one to be approachable but mystic, and it's definitely a standout fragrance within the lineup. Now, with 3 reviewers down and a ton more to go, but this next one's kind of become the godfather of fragrance. That That or a fragrance encyclopedia of everything you need to know. You guessed it, I'm talking about Steven from the channel Redolessence. In my mind, he helped build this fragrance foundation before most of us even hit upload. Back when he was doing his reviews in different languages and playing his guitar for extra subscribers. But then you go from that to launching Aromatix Parfums. And in this, with his partners, he took a few YouTubers, including myself, from YouTubers to creators as well. Now I think Steven has the most fragrance releases of any fragrance YouTuber, which technically makes the range of his line untouchable. Look, I'm gonna start with one of my favorites, and I think this one happens to be from his second collection, and this one is Loudest. Now honestly, I'm not sure why I really enjoyed this fragrance so much, but once it came out, I just thought there was something elegant and refined about this scent. With the Loudest, you get this bright bergamot up top, and then it's grounded in some vetiver underneath. It smells crisp and mature without feeling dated. And it's an easy daily wear scent that makes you feel confident and clean. Also a bit highbrow. Another fragrance I've talked about a ton from his first collection was Absolutio. Now the bottle here says it's complex, captivating, and irresistible, and I would say that it does all of those things. With this, you get this spice, amber, patchouli, and a hint of sweetness. In the base, there's also this caramel and chocolate, and that in itself really provides this deep dive into seduction and temptation. This one and a lot of the fragrances in his collections are hard to put down once you smell them. Now my personal favorite is one that I don't have in bottle format. I got to test the samples for it release, which is Ray's Spirit. The fragrance is phenomenal. Now these two fragrances I believe have since been discontinued, but if you're looking to dive into one of his newer offerings, then he also has a main character that recently released, and you could probably pick that for the missus or your boo thing. Next up, I got my guy Darian, aka the Bowtie Fragrance guy. To me, he's like this class act of YouTube. He's always polished, he's always intentional, and his releases really reflect that same precision. I have most of his releases, but I got two in front of me for this video, and these are Aubade and Eau Debonair. Now, Aubade doesn't just smell good. This is like this soundtrack to confidence and modern masculinity. The lavender here opens up like this slow inhale, and it smells smooth and comforting right before this tonka begins to come in. Now, there's also this sandalwood drift and this creamy warmth that just lingers on the skin. This just has this elegance to it, and it feels soft and timeless. But then he circled back with Eau Debonair and said, let me step it up a bit. Now, this one opens with this bright citrus, and then the suede just slides on in. But everything kind of softens a bit. Now, what I will say is this does pack a nice punch up top, but as it settles, some of those soft woods begin to emerge, wrapping everything into this smooth, modern elegance. It's the kind of fragrance that when you wear it, you just feel like you belong. And when I think about how he presents himself, that's pretty fitting. Look, he has another fragrance on the way, and at the time of filming this video, I don't believe they have announced the name, but I'm sure the complete package will be just as sharp as his suits. You know, when I think about it, that's one thing I really respect about my guy. That man cares about his presentation. He's polished, he's precise, he's intentional, and everything just feels thought out. That same attention to detail reminds me of today's video sponsors, Koyo. If you're not familiar with Koyo, they make amazing sneakers that easily shift from the office to casual to date night. My first pair of Koyos were the Capri Koyos and Pebble, and they were gifted to me by a friend about 2 years ago. Since I've had them, they've been through airports, rain, photo ops, you name it. And it's still holding up, and it's still soft where they should be. The new pair is the Capri X in Nero. And on first glance, it's almost like the top notes of a fragrance. It's clean, smooth Italian calf leather with a subtle sheen. You notice its structure. The laceless extract sits snug, the stitching is tight, and the ortho-light hydro insole gives that slow building comfort that doesn't give out halfway through the day. And then, on the other hand, I got these Capris in Mocha. Look, at their core, they're a warmer, full-grain, vegetable tan brushed leather that's brushed with wax and oil until it glows. It's got this deep brown leather that just feels richer every time you wear it. And then you get this kind of patina that tells a story. I spoke with one of the co-founders of Koyo before, and we kind of geeked out a bit about the overlap between fragrance and the shoe industry. He told me he wears Molecule 01, and to me, when I thought about it, it made perfect sense. It's subtle and it's unforgettable up close. close. And Koyo shoes feel just like that. Subtle, clean, and meant to be noticed by people who pay attention. There's a link below with the discount if you want to check them out, which you should, because like the reviewers on this list, they're some of the most popular shoes on YouTube and in the streets. Use my code BBBXKOYO25 and you're gonna save $25 off your orders of $150 or more, which is clutch for the holiday season or that new year, new you vibe. All right, we're gonna get back to the fragrances so we can see which of these YouTubers puts the most soul into their fragrances. See what I did there? Next up, we got a 3-for-1 with the Zaharov and the Zed Creators campaign. Here, we got Jay, Ross, and Curly stepping up with their offerings. And I'll kick things off with Jay Copeland, and this is his offering, Brass and Soul. Now personally, I find this fragrance to be a little sneaky. By looking at it with this darker juice, you might assume that this is a darker fragrance. But let me tell you, it's not. This one's fresh. It starts with some citrus at top, but it maintains this airiness that tends to dry down into something a little bit more woody. So I guess you could say the brown is for the wood. And then we got Business Over Pleasure, and this one is from Ross of TLTG Reviews. It's another fresh citrus and musky scent. Now to me, when I think about this fragrance, it really follows that traditional fragrance stack. We get some citrus at top, we get some florals in the mid, and then you get these woods in the base, and to me, it really works. Whether you're talking business or personal, this is a really easy fragrance to reach for. It's balanced, it's versatile, and it always smells right. And then Curly bought us the Siren. And honestly, when I got this one in, it wasn't what I was expecting, but I like it. Of the 3 fragrances here, this one is the most potent. I could hear the song from a distance and it sentenced me to death, but it was alluring.
And I've decided that I want to die.
I think what I really like about this fragrance is that it kind of forces you to make a decision. Are you in or are you out? Do you like it or no? And let me tell you, I'm in. This is smoky, there's some leather here, and it's a little earthy with a pinch of spice. I was expecting her to come with something a little bit more feminine that maybe some women could wear, but she stayed true to her channel. She caters to the fellas and knocked it out of the park with this one. Before there were lifestyle influences, there was Alpha M. Aaron built an empire by helping guys look and feel better. And his Pete and Pedro brand bottled that vision. I mean, really, they released a slew of fragrances. There was King, Hero, Rebel, Villain, and even Legend. Personally, Rebel and Hero happen to be 2 of my favorites. Now, Alpha took a different approach with this scent. Releasing these under his Pete and Pedro hair brand, he decided to grab fragrances that were inspired by legends. Rebel and Hero were both inspired by iconic Creed fragrances. Rebel, Aventus. Hero, Green Irish Tweed. What he did was simple and easy to understand. We see it today with a lot of the Middle Eastern brands of recreating fragrances or being inspired by them, but Alpha was in the game as well. I know people tend to knock dupes, but it worked here, it's working for the Middle Eastern brands. And I remember Alpha saying one day that I made more on my fragrances than any of the little influencers. There we go. Staying within this men's lifestyle realm, we got Jose from Teaching Men's Fashion. And in this case, he tends to be teaching you fragrance. Today, he's like the blueprint of what polished delivery looks like. He has sharp branding and a type of presentation that makes you want to fix your posture. When he released his fragrances, he released them under a brand called Santa Lucia, and they came out with a bang. Now, similar to Alpha, you could say that these fragrances were inspired by, but they really did take their own approach. Each of the names of these fragrances are right on the tops, and when you put them together, there's a message. Come closer to conquering every day. Come Closer was a rose fragrance that really performed well. It wasn't a dirty rose, it was smooth and elegant, but it also felt warm and cozy and very intimate. Now, To Conquering was all about a little bit of energy. This fragrance was supposed to be aromatic, assertive, and powerful with a pop of spice. And then you have Everyday, and to me, this one was the best of the bunch. It's bright musk, it's clean florals, and it kind of reminds me of that Bon Emmenin Lafayette Street. This one is a no-brainer daily wear, but unfortunately, it's discontinued. You know who else dipped their toe in the game? Alex Costa. And Alex doesn't just talk grooming. When you watch his content, he's he's creating experiences. He's blending natural storytelling into this seamlessly aesthetic visual that just feels cinematic. And that same aesthetic is brought through within his fragrance line. Now, like Alpha, Alex also released his fragrances through his hairline. His hairline is called Forte, and the two fragrances that he released were Protagonist and Antagonist. Now, in smelling these fragrances, I would say that he did a really good job with them. For Protagonist, I would say that it's probably sweet and woody and maybe something in the same ballpark of Ultramar if you had to put your mind of what this would be. And then for Antagonist, it's a little different. This one is not as sweet. This one's more woody and leathery. It just has this pop to it that just makes you kind of antagonize some situations. Overall, I would say he did a really good job with both of these scents. I mean, not only do the fragrances smell good, they feel good in hand, and of course, they carry that aesthetic all the way through. Oh, but also, the performance on these are pretty decent. Moving on, we got A-lister from Dan Bilzerian. Now, if you know anything about Dan, he kind of went crazy on the internet a while ago. He was everywhere you would turn, he would pop up. Think about Andrew Tate, but before Andrew Tate. He was a poker player turned entrepreneur turned controversy magnet. So when he launched a fragrance called A-lister, people had questions. And I'm here to answer. This fragrance is leather, spice, and tonka. It's not loud, it's not brash, and honestly, it's not unapologetically alpha as you would expect it to be. Now, Dan's thing happens to be around, his relatability with women. And within this fragrance, this one is supposed to be pheromone boosted. So it's supposed to give you that extra edge when it comes to getting with a lady. Now, although I don't find this fragrance to be extra loud or in your face, it is amped up a bit, but it's not too far gone where I feel like it's a fragrance that not everyone could wear. Generally speaking, this fragrance works. I don't believe this one is available for sale anymore, but I did come out with this fragrance, a body wash, and maybe some soaps outside of the body wash. But all in, I think Dan took a shot at it, just not the best in the creator realm. And next, I got a fragrance from Joe Sent Me. It's a pretty clever name. Now, what I will say is Joe might not be the most popular guy on this list, but he's got one of the sharpest noses in the game. Plus, when it comes to fragrance collection for fragrance collection, his is pretty goated, especially when it comes to fragrance brands that you never heard of. If you're looking for someone to introduce you to something new, it would be Joe. And that's exactly what this is. This is his collab with Pre-Production Perfumes, and this one is called Hardcore Oud XXX. And he decided not to play it safe here. Generally speaking, when people are releasing fragrances, they want to go for mass appeal. They want to make sure that it's inviting and essentially that they can sell to most people. Joe said, no, I'm gonna do my own thing. This fragrance feels like it has raw oud, smoke, and this caramelized sweetness. It's rich, it's dark, and it's a little, I don't give a fuckish. Now, I found this fragrance to be extremely attractive, and with its name, it should be. Not only is this fragrance good, in my opinion, it's one of the most wearable ouds on the market, and you might find this blasphemous, but I think it could battle with Oud Satin Mood. Good job, Joe. And next, we got fragrances from Paul Reacts, and he's probably one of the internet's favorite reaction faces. Loud, hilarious, unpredictable, but he dropped a woman's fragrance. And as I said in the beginning, there's a fragrance on this list that I cannot recommend to any guy watching, but I can recommend this to your wives. Now, the fragrances that he released are from a company called Okacha, and really what he has is That Girl and Miss Girl. That Girl is poison. I don't know much about them today. When I smell these fragrances, they smell really good. This one here, That Girl, is a phenomenal vanilla scent. And when I look at the site, there's a That Girl and there's a That Girl Viral Vanilla Paul Reacts. And I'm not sure if it was a fragrance by itself, he reacted to it and went viral, or was it just the scent that he created? Nonetheless, it smells good. It's a lactonic feel, but it also has this smooth allure to it. It smells a little bit creamy.
How do you determine what creamy smells like?
When you know, you know. If you're picking this up for your lady or your boo thing or whatever it is that you got out there, with this one, they're gonna smell really delicious. And then with Miss Girl, it's a little interesting. There's parts here that kind of remind me of Lost Cherry, which I really do enjoy. My wife enjoys that as well. My kids enjoy it. It's just all around good scent. But for you, when you should picture this, think of that along with Baccarat Rouge 540. Together, you get a fragrance that's really nice. Really, if you're thinking about picking up fragrances for loved ones and they're younger ladies in high school or middle school and they want something to smell good and not spend a lot of cash on, I think these are phenomenal choices. And plus, with a name like Paul Reacts behind it, they might get a little bit more notoriety at school. My reaction? Stellar! And next, I got a few fragrances from Gents Scents. Over the years, Gents Scents has become one of the most consistent and respected fragrance reviewers out there. His reviews are calm, analytical, and they always seem to be a bit balanced. And when it comes to his fragrances, I think he took the same formula. Now, Ash actually has a few different things going on. He has a collection that's current with Michael Malal, and I haven't had the opportunity to smell any of those, but I do have some of his original releases from Galleria Parfums. Now, what I know about his fragrance with Michael Malal, or I guess one of the fragrances, which is Jet Black Enigma, I have Jet Black. So think ambery, think spice, a little vanilla, a little timeless, a little masculine. Now, with these fragrances from the Galleria line, they happen to be my favorite, and this one specifically is my most favorite. This is Cognac Cafe, and it smells exactly how it sounds. In addition to that, this was made by one of my favorite perfumers. Yep, I'm talking Sidonie Lancaster, and you might know her from fragrances like Black Phantom, Apple Brandy, Cruel Intentions, Blue Moon Ginger Dash, Old Fashioned. You see where I'm going. This fragrance is boozy sweetness meets roasted coffee. It's a combination that gets done all the time and it fails, but this one here is done right. I find this fragrance to be warm, inviting, addictively cozy, and a phenomenal fragrance for fall and winter. Now, for these two fragrances, think of everything I said about Cognac Cafe and apply it to these in their respective profiles. By the Yuzu Grove is one that's going to be great for spring and summer, and then Dream Woods kind of just pulls that year-round scent together. Now, I don't believe these fragrances are in production anymore. I think he's exclusively with Michael Malal, but if you were looking for fragrances that smell great and get your hands on something, here you are. I know what you're thinking now. Which YouTuber makes the best fragrances? That really depends on what you value. Boldness or balance? Power or presence? The now or the later? I think it's too early to tell because we are just scratching the surface. Because one thing's for certain, this space is really heating up. Part 2 is coming with some of these folks, and next time, we're taking it up a notch. If you like these YouTuber fragrances, then click here because you might like these celebrity fragrances.